The story that we covered yesterday with a gigantic tip of the hat to the Everett Herald, because the Everett Herald had a great, great piece. You know, these red light cameras that are going in all around the Puget Sound region. The company that dominates that field of contracting with cities to install and administrate the red light camera programs. It's American Traffic Solutions in Scottsdale, Arizona. And the Everett Herald had a fantastic expose a couple of days ago about what I called the sleaze of ATS, American Traffic Solutions. Now, I will tell you, to their credit, American Traffic Solutions Vice President is coming on with me at the bottom of the hour to address some of the concerns that have been raised in this Everett Herald piece and then in our coverage yesterday. But what the Herald found out is that every time the Everett Herald wrote a story about red light cameras going in Snohomish County, you know, in Linwood has them all over the place. Monroe had a vote on whether to, or has a vote on whether to allow the cameras, Snohomish, Everett. Every time the Everett Herald ran a story about red light cameras, they got a comment in the story, you know, where the readers can comment. They got a comment from the same guy named W. Howard. W. Howard, January 27th, for example. He wrote to the Monroe City Council, "Stick to your guns, Council. This is not a backwoods city to be manipulated by a bunch of radicals, manipulated by slick Timmy Iman. He may have buffaloed his home city, but don't let it happen here." Meaning Iman helped lead the initiative to keep the cameras out of Mukilteo. Signed W. Howard. Another W. Howard post in January. "Like them or not, we need traffic cameras in Everett. I thought they were supposed to be installed a year ago. Seattle's pointed out the cameras are for pedestrians as well as violating drivers. The data there says they've been successful on both counts." Signed, W. Howard. In May, W. Howard wrote, "The fact is, traffic in Linwood is horrible. This is a transition city where people use our roads to get to and from other locations or bypass the freeway. If these people don't mind breaking the law and are willing to donate to the city's budget need, that's our win and their loss." Signed, W. Howard. And on it goes. 43 times W. Howard posted. So, man, W. Howard really loves his red light cameras. But that's not a surprise, because what the Everett Herald revealed is that local citizen W. Howard is actually an executive with American Traffic Solutions in Scottsdale, Arizona, the company, the private company that contracts with these cities for the red light camera programs. The Herald wrote, heraldnet.com requires that people who wish to post comments supply us with a live email address at the time they create their user account. W. Howard gave an address at American Traffic Solutions. It's one used by Bill Kroske, Vice President of Business Development at ATS. Kroske pitched Mukilteo on the cameras. He recently was in Bellingham suggesting a similar arrangement. He's been the public face of American Traffic Solutions in arranging camera contracts in Washington State. And even when another reader in the Herald called out W. Howard, after one of W. Howard's posts, a reader said, "What would you know about Washington, W. Howard? Have you ever been to this state? How's the weather in Arizona?" And W. Howard wrote back, "Sorry to burst your bubble. I am a Washingtonian, born and raised here, with 2 degrees from Washington universities. Also, I've been involved with Washington traffic safety for 10 years. So even after he got called out, he just lied about who and what he was. And so what I said on my blog last night, and what I'll say again to you right now, is we're in a daily battle. Actually, I didn't say this part on the blog. This is a bonus, radio-only bonus. We're in a daily battle for control of our lives, and the two most powerful forces that we're up against in that battle for control of our own lives are government and big business. And when government and big business collude as appears to have happened in this case, it's a formidable foe. And it's just a very sleazy tactic. All right, well, there is an update. They've suspended the vice president who was involved in this astro-turfing campaign on the web. And as I said, we are going to talk live with another VP for American Traffic Solutions. So I welcome to the show the Vice President of Communications at American Traffic Solutions in Scottsdale, Charles Torito, joins us here on News Talk 97.3 KIRO FM. Charles, thanks for coming on with me this afternoon.
Thanks for having me on, Dori.
Okay, can you confirm, did all these newspaper comments come from your Vice President, Bill Kroske?
You know, I don't know if they did or not, but certainly the investigation that was done by the Everett Herald showed that those postings were done by that individual and that his email was registered to that screen name.
He was certainly posing as a local citizen.
Dori, I'm not going to argue with that at all. Obviously, we take this matter very seriously.
Okay,
Mr. Kroske was suspended indefinitely yesterday as a result of this investigation, and it's something that we discourage as a company, and we would discourage of anyone. We believe that if you're going to engage, that you should engage honestly and openly and authentically.
Does this happen with any of your other employees there at ATS, Charles?
Not that we know of, but I can tell you that anyone who has looked at the comment section sees a great deal of commenting on both sides, and where that comes from, you know, I don't know, but I think that as a company we offer several different outlets where we engage.
Okay.
We have a Facebook page, we have a YouTube page,
sure.
We have a Twitter feed, all of those.
But I want to focus on the newspaper comments where there was not an effort to reveal who was doing the commenting, because there was there's one particular comment that has appeared in newspapers and websites all around the country and it's always in cities where ATS has a contract or is seeking a contract. Somebody has posted this graph: love them or hate them, red light cameras work, and the more they are debated, the more people are aware of them. That was somebody named Jane Smith who posted in the Tucson Citizen, but that identical post was posted in the Fort Lauderdale Sun-Sentinel. I mean, word for word. In Rochester, New York, in San Diego, here in Linwood. And can you tell me with certainty that was not an ATS employee who was posting an identical comment in websites across the country where you guys have contracts?
I have no idea who Jane Smith may be or who Jane Smith is or isn't affiliated with. I can tell you that we discourage all of our employees from doing anything like that.
If it's revealed that Jane Smith is also an ATS employee, would that person also be suspended and possibly face harsher punishment?
Certainly something that we would look into pending our internal investigation.
Okay. When Mukilteo had the Citizens Initiative to ban red light cameras, there was a website that went up, again, supposedly by a citizens group, but it turns out that the domain name was owned by a company called Advarian Inc. of Houston, Texas, and Advarian has posted identical websites in cities around the country. Advarian is one of the contractors that provides services to American Traffic Solutions. Does your company fund anti-campaigns without attaching your name to it in cities that are considering banning cameras?
I wasn't at ATS then. What I can say is that...
I mean, you know about this controversy.
Moving forward, you can expect that everything that ATS does with regards to those types of activities and does from a corporate perspective will be done honestly and openly.
Okay. Well, let me talk about one that I know you know about, and this was in Missouri, where some citizens who were opposed to red light cameras, they posted a website, wrongonred.com.
That wasn't right. Yep.
Okay.
And I did the wrong.
The day after, and my listeners don't know about this, so let me explain what I'm asking you about. But the day after wrongonred.com went live, another website, wrongonred.org, that was a proponent of red light cameras, went through a proxy server to hide who was actually behind that website. And I know that you, Charles, have confirmed that your company and you personally were responsible for wrongonred.org, correct?
Absolutely. There was never any intent to deceive with wrongonred.com. And in fact, had anyone contacted us about it, which they eventually did, we took full responsibility for that site. As I said, we will always engage those who are opposed to red light cameras and provide information about the cameras.
So why, first of all, was there anything on the website that you posted, wrongonred.org, that referenced or identified that ATS was behind that website?
There was nothing on wrongonred.com that identified who posted that website.
Well, but that's not what I'm asking you about. I'm asking you about the one that you posted. Was there anything that identified that? Because you told me at the beginning of our conversation that ATS is committed to always providing an open dialogue and doing everything above board.
And if you look at what the content of that website was videos of crashes and statistics. There was no intent to deceive.
But how is that consistent with what you said at the beginning of our conversation, that ATS is committed to always doing everything above the table when you are posting websites that don't identify that your company's behind them? You said ATS has nothing to hide. We don't do anything by proxy. You used a proxy server so nobody could see who had registered that domain name.
We used GoDaddy.com to register that domain name.
Right.
That is a service that anyone who goes to GoDaddy.com can use to register their website.
But why would you use a hidden server if you didn't want to hide that your company was behind that?
I think that the description of it as a hidden server is a little bit misleading. I think that if anyone has ever registered a URL, they know the process. But I understand your point, and on this one, we're going to disagree.
But you registered the domain anonymously. You didn't mention anywhere on the site that it was your company's website, and you're trying to tell me that your company is interested in doing everything above the table?
That was on that site was all information that was available publicly.
Why didn't you put your company's name on that website if it was information you don't mind standing behind?
I don't think that there was ever any intent to deceive with that website, and in fact, I think I went above and beyond to clarify who the website belonged to.
Well, after you were called out.
That website was as much a tongue-in-cheek reaction to the Wrong on Red website that was created as anything else.
No, wait a second. I mean, now it's tongue-in-cheek. You were telling me it was factual information. It was important statistics.
It was factual.
It was tongue-in-cheek.
And to call it, it was really nothing more than a landing page. I think if you've been to the site, you could see, and I think that this conversation will probably generate more traffic to that site than anything that's been done before. I think what was important, the individuals who needed to know that site existed.
Okay, but so here's, as we wrap things up here, and I appreciate you taking the time and answering tough questions about this, but I just want to make sure we have a takeaway for my listeners. We've got a vice president for your company posing as a local citizen, putting in newspaper comments. We have your company anonymously registering websites, acting as a citizen activist in favor of red light cameras. How are my listeners, as our local governments, as our local cities consider entering into contracts with ATS, how are my listeners supposed to believe that your company remains dedicated to do everything above board?
The actions of one individual at ATS should by no means brand or in any way define the goal or the mission of American Traffic Solutions. That's the bottom line.
All right. Charles, I appreciate you coming on and answering all my questions with me. Thank you very much.
Dori, thanks for having me. Okay. Have a great day.
All right. Charles Torito, Vice President of Communications at American Traffic Solutions in Scottsdale, Arizona. Lots more to come. The Dori Monson Show.